Welcome to Certification Terminal, your ultimate certification Q&A hub. I hope that you are all doing well. Please make sure to subscribe to our channel so you never miss out on our latest content. And hit that notification bell to stay updated. Without further ado, let's hop in. Question number 1. What is the primary objective of confidentiality in information security? Option A, protecting data from unauthorized access. Option B, making sure data is not lost. Option C, ensuring data can be easily modified. Option D, ensuring data is easily accessible. The correct answer is Option A, protecting data from unauthorized access. The confidentiality principle ensures that data is protected from unauthorized access and disclosure. The objective of confidentiality is to prevent unauthorized access to sensitive or confidential information, such as personal information, trade secrets, financial data, or intellectual property. Question number 2. Out of the following options, which option is a key component of an incident response plan? Option A, establishing procedures for communication and coordination with external parties. Option B, establishing recovery time objectives for critical systems and data. Option C, conducting regular vulnerability assessments. Option D, identifying critical business functions and their dependencies. The correct answer is Option A, establishing procedures for communication and coordination with external parties. Establishing procedures for communication and coordination with external parties is a key component of an incident response plan. This involves identifying the external parties that need to be notified during an incident and defining the procedures for communicating with them. Question number 3. What is a frequently employed authentication factor from the options below? Option A, password. Option B, phone number. Option C, social security number. Option D, email. The correct answer is Option A, password. Passwords are the most common form of authentication used to verify a user's identity. Other examples of authentication factors include smart cards, security tokens, and biometric information, example, fingerprints, facial recognition. Question number 4. What is the core objective of implementing network segmentation within a cybersecurity strategy? Option A, to increase the attack surface by expanding the network. Option B, to create a single point of failure. Option C, to reduce the attack surface by isolating critical assets and sensitive data. Option D, to simplify network management. The correct answer is Option C, to reduce the attack surface by isolating critical assets and sensitive data. Network segmentation involves dividing a network into smaller sub-networks, which limits the ability of attackers to move laterally and access sensitive data or systems. This helps to prevent the spread of malware, unauthorized access, and other cyber threats. Question number 5. What risk identification method involves analyzing historical data, incident reports, and lessons learned to pinpoint potential risks? Option A, lessons learned analysis. Option B, SWOT analysis. Option C, brainstorming. Option D, checklists. The correct answer is Option A, lessons learned analysis. Lessons learned analysis involves examining historical data, incident reports, and past experiences to identify potential risks and vulnerabilities that may impact future projects, processes, or activities. Question number 6. Which protocol employs a three-way handshake to establish a reliable connection? Option A, TCP. Option B, SMTP. Option C, SNMP. Option D, UDP. The correct answer is Option A, TCP. TCP uses a three-way handshake to establish a reliable connection by exchanging 3 packets with the SYN/ACK, and ACK flags. SMTP uses a two-way handshake. Neither UDP nor SNMP require a handshake phase. Question number 7. As a component of their risk mitigation strategy, an organization opts to disclose the potential financial repercussions of data breaches to a third party. To which strategy does this belongs to? Option A, risk mitigation. Option B, risk acceptance. Option C, risk avoidance. Option D, risk transference. The correct answer is option D, risk transference. Risk transference involves transferring the risk to a third party. This often involves insurance policies where the insurer agrees to bear the risk in return for a premium. Option A, risk mitigation, is incorrect. While insurance can be a part of a risk mitigation strategy, the specific action of transferring the financial risk to a third party is called risk transference, not risk mitigation. Option B, risk acceptance, is incorrect. Risk acceptance implies that the organization willingly takes on the risk and its potential impact without sharing or offsetting it. Option C, risk avoidance, is incorrect. Risk avoidance means completely avoiding the risky action or function. In this scenario, the organization is not avoiding the risk but sharing it. Question number 8. Which of the following describes a method of risk reduction through the implementation of security measures like firewalls, intrusion detection systems, and encryption, aimed at preventing cyber attacks and safeguarding against the aftermath of a security breach? Option A, risk mitigation. Option B, risk avoidance. Option C, risk transfer. Option D, risk acceptance. The correct answer is option A, risk mitigation. Risk mitigation involves taking care of the risk by improving security controls. Question number 9. How does a cold site differ from a hot site? Option A, a cold site is a location with no infrastructure in place, while a hot site is a fully operational duplicate of the primary site. Option B, a cold site and a hot site are the same thing. Option C, a cold site is a location with minimal infrastructure in place, while a hot site is a fully operational duplicate of the primary site. Option D, a cold site is a fully operational duplicate of the primary site, while a hot site is a location with no infrastructure in place. The correct answer is option A, a cold site is a location with no infrastructure in place, while a hot site is a fully operational duplicate of the primary site. The difference between a cold site and a hot site is that a cold site is a location with no infrastructure in place, while a hot site is a fully operational duplicate of the primary site with all necessary infrastructure and resources. Question number 10. What distinguishes due care from due diligence? Option A, due care refers to the legal obligation to take reasonable steps to protect against foreseeable risks, while due diligence refers to the legal obligation to investigate and disclose material facts. Option B, due care refers to the steps taken to prevent or minimize the impact of a security incident, while due diligence refers to the steps taken to investigate and respond to a security incident. Option C, due care refers to the legal obligation to comply with security regulations and standards, while due diligence refers to the legal obligation to monitor and enforce compliance. Option D, due care and due diligence refer to the same thing. The correct answer is option A, due care refers to the legal obligation to take reasonable steps to protect against foreseeable risks, while due diligence refers to the legal obligation to investigate and disclose material facts. Due care and due diligence are legal concepts related to the responsibilities of organizations and individuals to protect against risks and comply with regulations and standards. Due care refers to the legal obligation to take reasonable steps to protect against foreseeable risks. This involves taking proactive steps to prevent security incidents and minimize their impact. Due diligence, on the other hand, refers to the legal obligation to investigate and disclose material facts, especially in cases of legal or regulatory compliance. This involves conducting thorough investigations and disclosing any relevant information to regulators, stakeholders, or other parties as required by law or ethical considerations. Question number 11. What is the main objective of a virtual private network, VPN? Option A, to provide remote access to the network. Option B, to segment a physical network into multiple logical networks. Option C, to provide redundancy and high availability for critical network resources. Option D, to encrypt network traffic between two endpoints. The correct answer is Option D, to encrypt network traffic between two endpoints. VPNs allow organizations to provide secure, encrypted communication between two endpoints over an untrusted network, such as the Internet. Question number 12. Which of these is the main objective of a disaster recovery plan? Option A, outline a safe escape procedure for the organization's personnel. Option B, restore company operation to the last known reliable operation state. Option C, communicate to the responsible entities the damage caused to operations in the event of a disaster. Option D, maintain crucial company operations in the event of a disaster. The correct answer is Option B, restore company operation to the last known reliable operation state. A disaster recovery plan is a plan for processing and restoring operations in the event of a significant hardware or software failure, or of the destruction of the organization's facilities. The primary goal of a DRP is to restore the business to the last known reliable state of operations. Maintaining crucial operations is the goal of the business continuity plan. The remaining options may be included in a DRP, but are not its primary objective. Question number 13. What is the primary purpose of data backups in the context of cybersecurity? Option A, to monitor and detect potential security breaches. Option B, to prevent unauthorized access to sensitive information. Option C, to recover lost or corrupted data in the event of a disaster. Option D, to ensure the availability of network resources. The correct answer is Option C, to recover lost or corrupted data in the event of a disaster. The primary purpose of data backups in cybersecurity is to provide a means of recovering lost or corrupted data in the event of a disaster or data loss incident. Data backups serve as a reliable and secure copy of important information that can be used for restoration purposes. Monitoring and detecting security breaches, Option A, typically involve other security measures such as intrusion detection systems or log analysis. While preventing unauthorized access, Option B, and ensuring availability of network resources, Option D, are important goals in cybersecurity, they are not the primary purpose of data backups. Question number 14. Which of the following is a type of risk associated with the breach of laws, regulations, or industry standards governing the use and safeguarding of sensitive information and systems? Option A, compliance risk. Option B, operational risk. Option C, information risk. Option D, reputational risk. The correct answer is Option A, compliance risk. Compliance can vary from industry to industry, and compliance risk can cause the organization to violate laws and incur penalty. Question number 15. What is the primary purpose of a disaster recovery plan? Option A, to recover from a disaster as quickly as possible. Option B, to identify the cause of a disaster. Option C, to maintain business operations in the event of a disaster. Option D, to prevent disasters from happening in the first place. The correct answer is Option A, to recover from a disaster as quickly as possible. The purpose of a disaster recovery plan is to recover from a disaster as quickly as possible. This includes identifying critical systems and data, establishing procedures for restoring those systems and data, and testing the plan to ensure its effectiveness. Question number 16. Which of the following does not represent an example of a threat actor? Option A, a hacker attempting to steal information. Option B, an employee accidentally deleting important data. Option C, a natural disaster causing system downtime. Option D, a competitor attempting to gain an advantage. The correct answer is Option C, a natural disaster causing system downtime. A natural disaster causing system downtime is not an example of a threat actor. Threat actors are individuals or groups that pose a threat to an organization's security, such as hackers, competitors, and insiders. Question number 17. You've been appointed as the disaster recovery manager for your organization, following a significant disaster. What should be your initial step in this role? Option A, identify the critical business processes that must be protected and prioritize their recovery. Option B, conduct a damage assessment of the organization's facilities and infrastructure. Option C, establish a crisis management center and begin communications with key stakeholders. Option D, begin the process of restoring normal business operations as quickly as possible. The correct answer is Option C, establish a crisis management center and begin communications with key stakeholders. The first step in the role of disaster recovery manager is to establish a crisis management center, which will serve as the central hub for coordinating and communicating the disaster recovery efforts. This center should be equipped with the necessary resources and technology to facilitate effective communication with key stakeholders, including employees, customers, partners, and suppliers. In a real-world scenario, the disaster recovery manager might take a combination of steps A, B, C, and D, or they might prioritize one step over another, depending on the specific needs of the organization and the impact of the disaster. Question number 18. Which of the following practices safeguards individuals' privacy by segregating personal information from directly identifiable data? Option A, data anonymization. Option B, data aggregation. Option C, data encryption. Option D, data backup. The correct answer is Option A, data anonymization. Data anonymization. Data anonymization is a technique used to separate personally identifiable information from the data, making it impossible or impractical to identify individuals. Question number 19. Which component addresses the procedures needed to undo changes in change management? Option A, rollback. Option B, request for approval. Option C, request for change. Option D, disaster and recover. The correct answer is Option A, rollback. In change management, the request for change is the first stage of the request. It formalizes the change from the stakeholder's point of view. The next phase is the approval phase, where each stakeholder reviews the change, identifies and allocates the corresponding resources, and eventually either approves or rejects the change, appropriately documenting the approval or rejection. Finally, the rollback phase addresses the actions to take when the monitoring change suggests a failure or inadequate performance. Question number 20. When faced with a significant earthquake, what should be the foremost immediate concern? Option A, implementing additional security measures. Option B, ensuring the safety of individuals. Option C, activating the disaster recovery plan for systems. Option D, assessing the physical damage to infrastructure. The correct answer is Option B, ensuring the safety of individuals. During a major earthquake, the immediate priority should be to ensure the safety of individuals. This includes evacuating them to safe locations, providing medical assistance if necessary, and addressing any immediate threats to their well-being. Human life and safety take precedence over any other concerns during such a disaster. Implementing additional security measures is not the immediate priority during a major earthquake. The focus should be on the safety and well-being of individuals, rather than cybersecurity concerns. While activating the disaster recovery plan is important, it should not be the immediate priority during a major earthquake. The focus should be on ensuring the safety of individuals first. Assessing the physical damage to infrastructure is necessary but should not be the immediate priority. Safety should be addressed before evaluating the extent of damage. Thank you so much for spending your valuable time with us today on Certification Terminal. We truly appreciate your support. If you found this video informative and adds value to your certification journey, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel if you haven't done yet. It helps us continue to create more content like this. If you did not watch our previous videos on ISC Square Certified Cybersecurity, please do visit and watch from our videos.